Wolf Brother, Chapter 30. We're nearly at the end of the book. Torak's fingers were shaking so much that he couldn't get the stopper off his medicine horn. Why had he left this to the last moment? Now Wolf was padding restlessly up and down outside the shelter, and the ravens were waiting to see him off, and he still couldn't get the stopper off the... "Want some help?" said Wren from the doorway. Her pale face was pale, her eyes shadowed. Torak passed her the medicine horn, and she yanked out the black oak stopper with her teeth. "What's this for?" she asked, handing it back. "Death marks," he said, not looking at her. She gasped. "Like the man on the ice river?" He nodded. "But he knew he was going to die. You might survive." "You don't know that. I don't want to risk my souls getting separated. I don't want to risk becoming a demon." She stooped to stroke Wolf's ears. "You're right." Torak glanced past her into the clearing where the dark blue dawn was breaking. During the night, clouds would roll down from the mountains, covering the forest in thick snow. He wondered if that would help or hinder him. He tipped some red ochre onto his palm and spat on it, but his mouth was too dry and he couldn't make a paste. Wren leaned over and spat into his palm. Then she scooped up some snow, warmed it in her hands, and added that. "Thanks," he muttered. Shakily he daubed circles on his heels, breastbone and forehead. As he finished on his forehead, he shut his eyes. The last time he'd done this had been for far. Wolf pressed against him, rubbing his scent into the new leggings. He put his paw on Torak's forearm. "I'm with you." Torak bent and nosed his muzzle. "I know." "Here," said Wren, holding out the ravenskin pouch. "I added more wormwood, and checked with Cyan. The masking charm should work. The bear won't sense the Nanook." Torak tied the pouch to his belt. Already he could feel the death mark stiffening on his skin. "You'd better take this too." Wren was holding out a little bundle wrapped in birch bast. "What is it?" She looked startled. "What you asked for. What I sat up most of the night making." He was appalled. He'd almost forgotten. If he'd left without it, what would have become of his plan? "I've put in some purifying herbs as well," said Wren. "Why?" "Well, if you kill the bear, you'll be unclean. I mean, it's still a bear, still another hunter. Even if there is a demon inside, you'll need to purify yourself." How like Wren to think ahead. How reassuring that she thought he had a chance. Wolf gave an impatient whine, and Torak took a deep breath. Time to go. As they started across the clearing, Torak remembered the medicine horn left behind in the shelter and ran back for it. As he came out, opening his medicine pouch with trembling fingers, the horn slipped from his grasp. It was Finn Kedin who picked it up. The raven leader was on crutches. As he studied the medicine horn in his hand, the blood drained from his face. "This was your mother's," he said. Torak blinked. "How did you know?" Finn Kedin was silent. He handed it back. "Don't ever lose it." Torak stowed the horn in his pouch. That seemed an odd thing to say, given where he was headed. As he was turning to go, Finn Kedin called him back. "Torak?" "Yes?" "If you survive, there's a place for you here with us, if you want it." Torak was too surprised to speak. By the time he'd recovered, the raven leader was moving away, his face as unyielding as ever. The high mountains were rimmed with gold as Torak crunched through the snow towards the ravens. Oslak handed him his sleeping sack and water skin, Wren his axe, quiver and bow. Surprisingly, Hord helped him on with his pack. He looked haggard, but seemed to have accepted that he wasn't the one who would be seeking the mountain. Cyan made the sign of the hand over Torak and then over Wolf. "May the Guardian fly with you." "And run with you too," said Wren, trying a smile. Torak gave her a brief nod. He just wanted to be gone. The ravens watched in silence as he started through the snow, with Wolf trotting in his tracks. He did not look back. And soon there'll be part 2.